Hi everybody, it's Lynnea, and I have a 5 cards, 1 kit video for you using the April 2020 Crafty Courtyard Kit from Pink and Main. This kit is called Be Kind. Now this kit is limited edition and it is sold out, so make sure that you head over to the Pink and Main website and subscribe so that you'll get each of their further kits without having to beat the crowd of shoppers trying to get to this kit. So everything comes all in this little mesh zippered bag, and I love that it's big enough that I can squeeze some 8.5 by 11 cardstock into it so I can keep everything in my kit all together. I have already looked through this kit because I couldn't wait to get it, so if things seem slightly out of order, that's why. It's due to my impatience. So there's a lot of embellishments in this kit. You're going to get a sequin mix. And then there are these little enamel shapes, and I love that there are different sizes of both dots and hearts in 6 different colors. And these colors match the cardstocks and the pattern papers, which is awesome. There's a 6x6 stencil. It's this little hexagon pattern, and I have labeled it the Beehive stencil, but usually the stencils in the kit are named after the kit, so I will have to relabel that as the Be Kind stencil. Now the Be Kind stamp set has these gorgeous realistic looking bees in different sizes as well as a bunch of sentiments. There are 5 different styles of ribbon. And then this is the little card. I should have shown this first. This is the card that comes in your kit that's kind of going to give you a quick synopsis of everything in the kit as well as an idea of the color scheme. This is the little chipboard stickers. So this actually matches the stamp set perfectly, which I love. It gave me a lot of coloring inspiration. Let's take a look at the 6x6 paper pad in the kit. There are 24 sheets, and each one is double-sided, and you're going to get 2 of each pattern, which I love because when papers are double-sided, I hate having to choose which pattern to kind of discard as the background of a card that you're never going to see, and then which one to actually show. So I love that there are doubles of each pattern in this paper pad. Now something that I always do, probably maybe a week or so after my kit comes, so right about the time that the next kit is about to be released, I go onto the Pink and Main website and I check out, there's a little tab that says past boxes and extras. And if Pink and Main has any extras from the kit, say if they have extra stencils, extra enamel shapes, or what I'm really looking for is the pattern paper, they will have it listed there. So right before I made this video, I went online and I got myself an extra paper pad because these patterns are so gorgeous. And a lot of them you can use for any kind of card in your stash. And I like that there's a lot of greens and yellows and blues, so they're even great for masculine cards. So that's just a little tip. I've gone on and gotten extra enamel shapes, paper. Sometimes there's even extra sequin mixes. And if you're a new subscriber and you've missed out on a previous box, if there are any left, that is where they will be. So that's just a little side note as we kind of look through all of this pattern paper. I'm going to set that to the side, and then I'm going to show you some of the other things that come in the kit with the papers. Now I do want to mention that I love that recently Pink and Main has switched over to having this little plastic cellophane bag for the papers rather than having them bound at the top. This makes my organization a whole lot easier because if I have scraps, I can just tuck them right in this little cellophane bag and keep them all together. You're going to get 4 Ice Rink A2 sized envelopes. There's a half sheet of the Ice Rink Sparkle sheet. This is glitter cardstock that you can color over it with Copics, you can die cut it, it's just perfect. And then you're going to get 7 total sheets of cardstock. You're going to get 2 heavyweight Ice Rink cardstocks, and then a green, a yellow, a blue with embossed polka dots, a coral, and then a solid blue. And that's everything that comes in this kit except for there is also a full die set of stacking stitched hexagons. The dies weren't available at the time I filmed this kit, but you will get them in your kit, or if you have already gotten your kit, they will be shipped separately later on. They just weren't available. But really, this kit, check out everything that's in here. You get a full stamp set, you get a stencil, you get papers, a full paper pad. Did I say that? A full paper pad, and then you also get a full stacking die set. You really cannot beat this kit. This is my favorite. I love bees, especially realistic looking bees, I went to school for forensic entomology, so these little bees are like my little friends. So I just love this kit. When I get a kit, I like to stamp out the images that I'm going to color and spend some time coloring all the images all at once. I don't color them for each individual card. To me, that's kind of a waste of time. So I like to stamp out a bunch. I actually did 3 sheets, and then I will just sit down and color them all. So I've kind of left the caps in screen for you so you can see. I used Y15, Y17 for the bodies of the bee, and then BG11 for the wings of the bee, and then a couple different colors of green for the leaves. I used a couple colors for a lighter leaf and then a couple for a darker leaf. I didn't leave the coloring of the flowers in the video. You can color them however you want, but I chose to color them with colors that coordinated with the pattern paper because, like I said, I sit down and color them all at once. This way I can be sure that they're going to match the color scheme of my card. Then, once I was done coloring, I just cut them out. I have fine tip cutter bee scissors that I like to use for my fussy cutting, but you could definitely, if you have a scan and cut machine, you could do it that way. So let's dive right into the first of my 5 cards. I'm going to be creating a background using this hexagon honeycomb shape from the stamp set. So I'm using my MISTI just so that I can get this positioned perfectly in that bottom corner. And then I'm going to end up stamping the top left and the bottom right of my corner. So I used my MISTI so that I could just flip this cardstock around and easily stamp them. I'm using a yellow, and I'm going to double stamp this just to deepen the color. And then once I have that done, I'm going to just clean that off. I'm using a Pink and Main microfiber cloth and then some stamp cleaner. Any of the additional Pink and Main products that I use in this video, I did throw in a couple dyes and then an acrylic block and my microfiber cloth. I'll link those down in the video description. I think that their Pink and Main products are absolutely fantastic, and I really, really love their whole assortment of products that you can create a card using just their stuff. I think that's really great. So now I have that little outline from the stamp set that matches these, and I could definitely have used my MISTI and made sure that I got this exactly lined up, but I wanted to have a little whimsy, and I kind of wish I had had a little more whimsy. It kind of looks like I made a mistake not lining them up. I didn't offset them enough. So if I recreate this card, I think I'm going to upplay that whimsy a little bit. Now I'm going to go in and just kind of fill in with just this outline stamp, not fill in my whole card because I still want there to be some gaps of white and some white space. But my idea is to kind of have that flower down in the bottom corner, a visual connection of the yellow hexagons, and then I'm going to have that little bee coming off the flower. These are the Pink and Main reversed scallop square dies. So I cut out a piece of the yellow polka dot pattern paper using one of those dies, and then I had thought that I was just going to stamp the sentiment onto some white cardstock, but I ended up ink blending that white cardstock with the same ink that I stamped those yellow hexagons in so that everything would coordinate. Now I'm going to add some of these fun enamel shapes here and there all around my card using the pinky coral color just to bring in some more of the color of the flower. And like I said, everything coordinates in this kit, so I colored my flower based off of the color of the pattern papers, which happens to match those enamel dots, so that is super exciting to me. Okay, let's move on to my second card. I used the stitched circle dies, and I cut out a circle using one of those dies, and now I'm going to put that Be Kind stencil over the top of that circle. I did spray the back with an adhesive pixie spray because these lines are very fine detail and I didn't want them to shift as I was stenciling. So I used that pixie spray and really pressed that stencil on from the back to make sure that I would get clean, crisp lines. And I blended on some gray ink. Once my blending was done, I'm just using my Pink and Main microfiber cloth to wipe off the ink on the stencil. You can see my cloth is very well loved. It was bright pink and now it's kind of stained with all the ink that I use. And all I do is just probably once a week I throw it in the washing machine and clean that up. So I had a different idea in mind for this card, but then I saw the pattern paper with the bee in the floral arrangement, and so I kind of switched gears and completely cased that pattern paper piece. So I'm going to use 2 of my colored flowers, arrange them around the outside of that circle, and I'll have the bee popped up in the middle. I trimmed down a piece of this pretty hexagon pattern paper, and I added a reverse scalloped rectangle frame, and now I'm just going to stamp the sentiment at the bottom. I used black ink, and I'm just going to heat emboss that so that it stands out against the cardstock. I'll use some liquid adhesive, and I added some foam to the back of this image, and I'm going to add that to the front of my card. And that is going to complete the second card. I love that the pattern papers inspired me to make this card. I love how it turned out. I think it's super cute. Okay, let's move on to the third card. This one is probably one of my favorites that I've done with this kit. I'm going to start off with the Masket Circle stencil, and this stencil has etched lines so that I can perfectly line up a standard A2 card piece in the back and have that cutout stencil perfectly in the center. Now I don't need to spray this because I'm just using this temporarily. You can see here I'm just tracing that inside circle cutout piece with a black pen. And that's all I'm going to use that main piece for. I am now going to use this negative circle piece to cover up that inner circle and mask that off. I'm using my Misty for this card because I am going to want to stamp multiple times. I am stamping these bees, both the little and the small one from the Be Kind stamp set, and I'm going to overlap them onto that negative piece of the Masket Circle stamp. I'm using a crisp black ink, and I'm just moving these bees all around my card until I fill up the background. Now I am being careful to press super hard where they are overlapping because that Masket Circle piece has a bit of lift to it. The stamp doesn't want to come in contact with the paper there. So I'm just going to make sure that I give it a little bit extra love and a little bit extra pressure, and I'm not worried. You can kind of see there's a little gap where the stamp doesn't completely line up against that Masket Circle piece. That's okay. I'll show you in the end how I fix this. And you can see here that even my stamp is hanging off like the side of my Misty, so it's up on the grid. That's okay. It will not hurt the Misty or the stamp. Okay, so here's how I'm going to fix those stamps that don't line up perfectly, because I want the black outline of the bees to touch that black circle. So I'm just taking a pen and just filling in those little gaps. This took me maybe a minute, 45 seconds. Like, it was super quick, but look at how much better that looks now without that little gapped halo. I'm going to grab the stamp set, and I love that these are different. I haven't even talked about how they are all separate stamps, so you can stamp the bee with any of these different sentiments: kind, fearless, happy. There's just so many different sentiments that you can make. So I'm going to stamp Be Fearless. Now, even though I used my Misty, I didn't get it lined up straight. My sentiment is definitely more towards the right of that circle than center. So I am going to kind of fudge this a little bit, and I'm going to use some of those enamel shapes and try to balance this out. So I'm going to add enamel shapes directly to the left of the sentiment so that hopefully when you look at it, you can't tell as much that the sentiment is moved over to the right. And then I'll put some below and then some up top as well to finish off that card. Okay, card number 4, another one of my favorites. I'm going to take that Be Kind stencil. I have some pixie spray left over, so I didn't actually have to spray it again. I'm working on another card base that's a 2 sized, 4 1/4 by 5 1/2. And I'm going to just blend on some minty green distress ink. And I'm going to keep it darker at the top and at the bottom and blend it lighter in the middle. In the end, it's not really noticeable because of the way I added images to it, but in my head, I think it gives things a little bit more dimension. Once my ink blending is done, I took some of those chipboard stickers. Originally, I was going to use my stamped and colored images, but I thought, you know what, why not save myself a little bit of time and just use these fun chipboard stickers that are included in the kit. So I have them adhered down. I kind of did a little bit of pre-planning with my sentiment. I want to have my sentiment stair-stepping down from the left side down to the right. Oh, I guess I didn't adhere them yet. These are stickers, and I figured that out after I added glue to the back. I was like, well, this is an awfully slick surface, and then I finally got my nail under that sticker, and I got that backer off. So here we go with the stamping. I started with Be Strong up at the top, and then I have Be Kind at the bottom. I'm going to stamp Be Happy in the middle with that but most of all sentiment as well. So it says be strong, be happy, but most of all be kind. And I love how that sentiment just stair steps down. Now, of course, if you're going to have a bee themed sentiment, I had to add a couple cute little bees here and there around my card. So I added one right down in that bottom right hand corner. I added one on each flower with some foam tape because those chipboard shapes, like I said, they have a little bit of lift. So I added some foam tape so that they would sit on there right. Okay, we are moving on to the last card, the fifth and final card. For this card, I wanted to use the pattern papers. I love the pattern papers, and I have a bad habit of hoarding pattern papers. But like I said, always be sure to check out that Crafty Courtyard Extras tab at the Pink and Main website, because quite frequently they have a few extras left from the kit, and I always snag them up because I just love them, especially this paper pad. And at the time of recording this, they had some of those paper pads, so run over and grab yourself an extra one. I have this gray hexagon for my background, and then I'm going to use more of this, the blue and the coral and the yellow hexagon as a strip across the center of my card. I stamped Be Unique underneath. And then I'm going to use some of the yellow cardstock from the kit. I cut some thin strips, and I'm going to just add those to the top and the bottom of this little, kind of like a banner across the center of my card. And then I'm going to line up these 3 bees and just pop them up with foam, and that's going to complete all 5 cards. Okay, so now is the time when I show you all 5 cards that I made, and I would just love it if you would give me some feedback. Which one is your favorite? And which one maybe don't you like so much? I don't know if I could pick a favorite. I do love this one that was inspired by the pattern paper. But I think that this one, the black and white with those little pops of colored enamel dots, I think that that one is my favorite. I'm a sucker for black and white. It almost looks like a coloring book page, so I think that one's my favorite. But I would love to know your favorite. And I would like to thank you all so much for watching. Remember that if you want to become a subscriber of these Crafty Courtyard kits and guarantee yourself a kit every month, to become a subscriber at the Pink and Main website, because these kits do sell out. They are limited quantities. Thank you guys so much for watching. See you soon. Bye.